Hello friends, today I'm going to discuss sampling techniques. So sampling techniques are divided into two parts. One it is probability and another it is non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, samples are selected on the basis of randomness. It means each and every element of the population will have an equal chance to be selected as a sample. All the elements of the population will have an equal chance. Anyone will be selected as a sample and an information might be collected from that person. So the sample generally are selected in case of the probability sampling randomly, without any bias, without taking consideration any of the criteria. It may be the convenience or it may be the cost or it may be the time. Without considering such kind of criteria, generally samples are selected from population. This is known as probability sampling. Say for example, I want to measure the intelligence level of the students of BBA in NPCCSM. So there are 300 students in NPCCSM and I want to measure the intelligence level. I want to draw 50 sample out of these 300 students. In that case, I will randomly select the student from a list of the 300 students from all FY, SY and TY. For that, I can use a sampling frame or the list of the student and I may select 50 students on the basis of their roll number without knowing their name. So I can assure the randomness of the selection. That is called probability sampling. In case of non-probability sampling, samples are selected on the basis of some criteria, and that criteria might be the time consideration, it may be the convenience that you have to collect the information, it may be the references that you have to collect the information from the respondent, which results into ease of collection of information. So here, instead of considering the quality or the relevancy of the information to be collected, we consider the conveniency of the investigator. How easily he or she will be able to collect the information from the respondent is the main criteria to select the samples for the study. Sometimes it may happen due to your relation with the respondent, you will select that respondent for the study. Sometimes it may be the nearness of the respondent to collect the information, and because of that, you consider them as a sample to collect the information. Sometimes it may be the cost, which will be used as a criteria for selecting the respondent, and because of that, you collect the information from those respondents who are nearby you. It may be in your class, or it may be in your neighbors, or it may be in your village, like that. So when the samples are selected by considering such kind of criteria, it is called a non-probability sampling. So in probability and non-probability sampling, there is only one difference. It is the chance of selection of this element of population. If each and every element of the population will have an equal chance to be selected, then it is a probability sampling. While in case of non-probability sampling, some references or some criteria will be used to select the sample. And because of that, each and every element of the population will not have an equal chance to be selected as a sample. That is known as non-probability sampling. So there are various techniques in both probability sampling and non-probability sampling, which will be used by the researcher to collect the necessary data, to collect the necessary information from the respondent. Depending on the objective of the research and depending on the results or the accuracy of the results to be obtained in the research. Generally, a sampling method is selected. So in case of non-probability sampling, there are four different kind of methods: convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. While in case of probability sampling, there are four methods which are frequently used in marketing research, and it is simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. So we look it one by one, all the methods. First of all, let us see the probability sampling methods. As I told you earlier, in probability sampling method, each sample, each element of the population will have an equal chance to be selected as a sample. So generally the randomness is the foundation of probability sample. Samples are selected blindly without considering any criteria, without giving any weightage to a specific criteria. Samples are selected. So the very first method in case of probability sampling, it is simple random sampling. In simple random sampling, a list of the population is prepared, which we called it as a sampling frame, as we have seen it earlier. And samples are drawn from the sampling frame or the list of the population randomly. It is called simple random sampling. In case of simple random sampling, we take an example of the lottery system. In lottery system, say for example, the total member of that particular system is 200. So 200 cheats are prepared and they are folded in the same way. Each and every cheat is folded in the same way. Sometimes a coin may be used, a plastic coin, which are number 1 to 200, which might be used for drawing the sample. And they all are shuffled well, and then randomly the number are withdrawn from a bowl. It is an example of the simple random sampling. So we can say that in case of the simple random sampling, samples are selected from a well-prepared list of the population element. If you want to draw 50 samples, 50 names are drawn by using the simple random table or a lottery system to draw the sample. And we all are very familiar with the lottery system in which our cheats are prepared. All the cheats are first of all numbered 1 to 100. And these cheats are, we can say, folded in the same way and are kept in a basket. Then they are shuffled well, so we can't identify any cheat in a particular. And it can be drawn. If you want to draw a 10 sample, a 10 cheats are drawn. If you want to draw a 20 sample, a 20 cheats are drawn from that basket. And no one can identify any of the cheat in particular. This method of sampling is known as simple random sampling, which is very frequently used in marketing research. So what would be the advantage of simple random sampling? Information that you will collect, it will be more relevant and more precise. Another, the biggest advantage of simple random sampling, it is representation of the sample element in the population. They are most representative of the population, and because of that we are able to collect the information very accurately. And on that basis, if we generalize the findings of the sampling, or we generalize the findings of the research on the whole population, it will work more properly, more appropriately than in case of other methods, non-probability methods. Now the second method of probability sampling it is stratified random sampling. In stratified random sampling, heterogeneous population is divided into different groups, different cluster or different segment, and each segment represent homogeneous population. Say for example, if I want to measure the intelligence level of the BBA student, what I will do, I will divide the population into three different groups, FY, SY, and TY. Then I will draw, say for example, I want to draw 30 sample out of these 300 students. Then I will draw 10 samples from TY, 10 samples from SY, and 10 samples from FY. Each group is homogeneous in characteristics. If we take FI, then in FI, there are the students of FI. In SY, there is only the students of SY, and in TY, there is only the student of TY. So the whole population, whole BBA is divided into three groups. Whole BBA, it's a, we can say, a heterogeneous population in which there is a first year student, there is a second year student, and there is a third year students. And all of them will have different level of intelligence. So we can't compare them, or we can't take any conclusion out of the results. So what we will do, we divide the whole population into three different parts: first year BBA student, second year BBA student, and third year BBA student. And we will draw the sample out of this randomly. After dividing the heterogeneous population into a homogeneous subgroup, samples are selected randomly. This is a stratified random sampling. In stratified random sampling also, the samples may be selected proportionately or it may be selected disproportionately. Proportionately in the sense, we take into consideration the size of the strata, or the size of the segment, or the size of the group, and on that basis we will withdraw the sample. Say for example, we want to draw 30 sample out of 300, and we have divided population into first year BBA, second year BBA, and third year BBA. So total sample that we need to draw it is 10%. So what we will do, we will withdraw the 10% sample from each group. From first year, 10% out of its population. Say for example, first year, there are 100 students. So 10 students are selected from the first year. If in second year, if the total number of students, it is 120, then 12 students will be selected from second year. And in third year, if there is 80 students, 8 students are selected for the study. This is called proportionate stratified sampling. We have selected the sample on the basis of the size of the strata, on the basis of the size of the group. And because of that, it is known as proportionate stratified sampling. In case of disproportionate stratified sampling, we will not consider the size of the strata. We have to draw the 30 sample. We take 10 sample from the FY, we take 10 sample from the SY, we take 10 sample from the TY. Here we did not consider size of the strata or size of the group. Though there are 100 students in first year, we selected 10. There are 120 students in second year, we selected 10. There are 80 students in third year, we selected 10. We did not consider the size of the population in each strata, in each group. Such kind of sampling is called disproportionate stratified sampling. And this is again a more prevalent sampling method which is used in marketing research. See, if you want to study the population on the basis of their age, you can divide the population into different age groups. Each one of these is a strata. The total population, which is heterogeneous, it is divided into a homogeneous subgroup. All of them, say for example, those who fall in the 20 to 30 years of age, all of them would have the age of 20, in between 20 to 30 years. In the same way, those who are in 30 to 40 years of age, all of them have that age. So they have peculiar characteristics. They become homogeneous. In 30 to 40 years, there is no element of population who is having the age of 20 to 30 or 40 to 5. So the third method, it is systematic sampling. In systematic sampling, first of all, a constant K is find out, in which total population is divided by the number of samples that you want to draw. Say for example, your population size is 300, you number them 1 to 300. You want to draw 30 samples out of these 300, then you divide 300 divided by 30. So you will get 10. So you will select any one number out of 1 to 10, any number that you wish to select, because you already have numbered the population 1 to 300. Just like we do it in the simple random sampling. First of all, we number the whole population and it is 1 to 300. We want to draw 30 samples, so we'll find out the ratio of population to the sample. It is 10. That ratio you got, it is 10. So now you have to select one sample from 1 to 10. Say for example, you have selected 5. Then the next sample will be selected systematically. That is the next sample or the next person who is selected for the study, it is number 50. Then next will be the number 25. Next will be 35. Next will be 45. In this way, samples are selected. It is known as systematic random sampling. Why it is called systematic? Because once the first sample is selected randomly, other samples are selected systematically. And because of that, this method is called systematic random sampling. If you look at the procedure, say for example, purchase order from the previous fiscal year are serialized to 1 to 10,000. We have serialized the purchase order 1 to 10,000. A sample of 50, you want to draw 50 sample. So what will you do? You will find K, that is population size divided by sample. Yani 10,000 divided by 50, it results into 200. Now you have to select one number from 1 to 200. Any number, any one number that you need to select from 1 to 200. Say for example, you have selected 95. Then the next sample will be, you have to add 200 into 95. So 95 plus 200, it is 295 will be the next sample. Then 495 will be the next sample. 695 will be the next sample. In that way, all 50 samples are selected. It is called systematic random sampling. The next sampling method, next probability sampling method, it is a cluster sampling. So in cluster sampling, Generally, the whole population is divided into a different cluster or a different region or different blocks. And the whole block will be taken into consideration for this study. You will not draw the sample from that cluster. The whole cluster will be taken for this study. Say, for example, we want to measure the intelligence level of the BBA student. So we divided this BBA student into three clusters: first year BBA, second year BBA, and third year BBA. Now, for sampling purpose, what we will do, we will simply take only one cluster, that is third year BBA. Then all the elements of third year BBA will be contacted for collecting the necessary information. All the third year BBA students, say for example 80, all of them 80 will be the sample. For this study, it is known as cluster sampling. So in cluster sampling, generally the whole population is divided into different cluster. You can use the base homogeneity for the same, or heterogeneity may also be considered depending on the purpose of the research, purpose of the investigation, and then the sampling will be done. Such kind of sampling is known as cluster sampling. Now,